Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Knights of the Alternate Table. Today in this video, we're going to be talking about what if Spain joined the Central Powers. Okay, so I know pretty much the first video I ever made was on Spain, and it was absolutely terrible, so hopefully this one will go better. And if you haven't seen the previous Spain video, do not watch at all cost. Thank you and have a good one, we'll get on with it now. So why would Spain join the Central Powers in the first place? Well, the higher class, the monarchy, and the army all wanted to join the Central Powers, and by 1915, it was seen that Spain would make a huge difference if they joined the war. So when France accidentally attacked their coast guard, as they did in our timeline, Spain, instead of realizing the mistake, would think this was an act of war and go to war with France. So Spain would go to war. Quickly, more and more troops would have to go down to protect the border, while Spain would rally its military to just shoot through France and invade. Thus, Entente powers would start getting nervous, as now they were fighting a two-front war, just like the Germans. So there was no more advantage to disadvantage now. Spain would quickly take land in France. The French troops would also go to war, and it would become a trench war, just as it did in our timeline, but on the Spanish border now. Meanwhile, Germany would make more and more gains against France, with the less troops they have to fight, because now France isn't using all of their troops trying to defend French territory and attack German territory. This would be a huge disadvantage. Soon Serbia and Montenegro would both capitulate, with a small attempted invasion that would be a success on the Hill of the Boot of Italy by Austria-Hungary. Romania would then join the war and quickly push in through territory, but would slowly lose more land, and the Russians, just like in our timeline, would lose more and more land. This time the French would join them in losing land. Both France and Russia would begin to lose mass amounts of their population. In our timeline, Russia lost the most troops, but soon France would become a close second, with the death on both sides of the war. France's army couldn't keep up, and they would look to try and make peace deals with people to try and ease up tensions on their front to try and save their lost generation. They would begin looking towards Germany for help, to try and get a peace deal through them, because they saw the Germans as a stronger army than the Spanish. But the Germans would refuse, as well as the Spanish when they would turn to them. So France would be left getting destroyed on all sides and losing their army, one man at a time. Meanwhile, Romania would start losing more and more of its land that they conquered in the beginning, and now would be facing all sides with the surrendering of Russia, and a number of places becoming independent. Greece would join the war, but would almost lose all of its northern territory almost immediately. All of Belgium would be taken, with most of that land going to Germany, but some land going to other countries, just to guard what they need to make sure that the Belgians don't break out. Now, Greece would lose more and more land, with Italy now actually losing lots more land due to the fact that the Austrians would finally get over the Alps without the help of the French troops. France would begin to try and unconditionally surrender, instead of just trying to come to a peace negotiation. Germany would accept. Meanwhile, America would join the war with the sinking of the Lusitania and the Zimmermann telegram. But with the capitulation of France and the destruction of the Entente, would decide not to, and Congress would refuse Woodrow Wilson's war declaration. America would try and support Britain through the best means it can, but would fail and see Germany cover Europe and take over. France would then surrender, and more land would be taken from Italy, and naval invasions would begin to be prepared to invade Britain, as well as the Irish uprising distracted the British Army from making a complete home defense. It is good to note that Portugal in this timeline would not join the war, or not be as chummy as they were with the Allies, as they were afraid of a Spanish invasion. Now the Central Powers would rule throughout Europe, taking not most, but pretty much every single country that was there. So, with only a few pockets of resistance left that refused to accept that the Entente would be good, a peace treaty would be signed to break up the Entente powers and to create a new power of Europe. After the peace deal was signed, this would be what the new face of Europe would look like. With Poland taking a lot of land from the Soviet Union, the Soviet Union now being established, Greece would lose pretty much all of its northern territory, with Serbia becoming increasingly smaller, Italy losing north and Sicily to Spain, and France losing land on both sides. Britain would also lose Cyprus to the Ottoman Empire, most of their African territories, as long as with Gibraltar and Malta, to Spain, and also France would lose most of its African territories to Spain. The British Empire would still be preserved with the Dominion, though it would be weaker and not as strong as it could before. Most of the Dominion countries would see that Britain has fallen, and now that they were basically independent, I would look up to Canada. Multiple states would break out of Austria-Hungary, with Romania becoming independent once again, and Montenegro, Bosnia, the Slav Republic, Croatia, Slovenia, Austria, who would quickly want to be annexed by the strong, powerful German Empire so that Hungary couldn't try and remake the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Slovakia, and Czechia, as well as Poland gaining a lot more land from this. The original Entente of Russia, France, and Britain would quickly come to communist revolution. They would decide to embrace it rather than trying to fight it. It would be a bloody one in France, an equally bloody one in Russia, but a semi-peaceful one in Britain. Without more loss of life in France, France would have to depend on women to help work more than men. Meanwhile, the royal family would quickly flee to Canada, seeing what happened to Nicholas II and their family, not wanting the same to happen to them, just as the communists would try and storm the palace, they would assume. So they would flee to Canada to try and escape a grim fate, and they would be successful at this, taking charge of Canada, and Canada becoming the new head of the British Empire. Here's a map of all of the powers, with gray representing monarchy, blue representing democracy, and red representing communism. As you can see, monarchies would dominate now, with Portugal also becoming communist, with the fact that they didn't join in the war, so therefore they lost a lot of money with the war. So, all of these allies would try and ally with themselves to not break Europe with a full monarchy society unlike the 1800s. America would support these countries shown here as to try and fight the spread of the evil monarchy, but would also support Canada as they saw Britain as a new home and that it was more progressive than, say, Britain or Germany or Spain. Portugal and France would greatly accept the help as they really needed it in the economy. Hopefully this was better than what if Spain joined the Axis. But anyways, if you guys liked and enjoyed, please make sure to like, subscribe, and have a good one. We're almost to 100 subs, so we'll do something special for that. I don't know what else to say, so I'm just gonna ramble on. So if you have any ideas for a good 100 subscriber special, please let me know. And have a good one. Thank you for watching. On your right, you can see what if Mexico won the Mexican-American War. On the left, YouTube recommends this video just for you. And hey, in the middle, there's a subscribe button, so why not click it? Have a good one and good